You're watching the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I am your host, Chase Sr., and coming up, we have a jam-packed show with a bunch of quarterback draft prospect rumors. But before we get started, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. We're trying to get to 35,000 subscribers. We're inching closer and closer, so hit that big red button down below and go to youtube.com/49erstv and subscribe now. Welcome into the 49ers Report. I am your host, Chase Sr., and we kick it off with some NFL draft prospect quarterback rumors, because what else is new with the 49ers? That has been the topic of conversation of late. Adam Schefter went on 104.5 in San Francisco and said he would be shocked if Mac Jones doesn't go to San Francisco with the number 3 overall pick in the draft in a couple of weeks. He believes that the 49ers' plan is to draft a quarterback, develop and groom him, and then sit him behind Jimmy Garoppolo this upcoming season. Why is that? Because the 49ers right now have a win-now roster. So Schefter believes that Jones is going to be the guy. He is going to sit this upcoming season behind Jimmy Garoppolo, and they're just going to take this season to groom him. But if Jimmy G gets injured, which he's shown the propensity to do so, they can slide Mac Jones into the starting quarterback role without missing a beat. So Schefter thinks that Mac Jones is going to San Francisco at number 3. What do you think? Will the 49ers draft the Alabama superstar? If you think they will, type Y for yes. If you think they won't, type N for no. Now, when you read what a lot of scouts think, it varies across the board. They think that Mac Jones fits San Francisco because he is the best system fit and the most ready-to-play quarterback prospect right now. As for Trey Lance out of North Dakota State, they think that Trey Lance might have the most upside of the rookie quarterbacks, but does need some years to develop. As for Justin Fields out of Ohio State, he's a really dynamic athlete, has a really strong arm, but according to scouts, they think that he struggles at times with processing the field and going through his reads. What does Daniel Jeremiah think, a guy who used to scout in the league? He released his latest mock draft and said, "I'm not surprised San Francisco traded up to number 3. I am surprised that everything you hear points toward Jones being the Niners pick at number 3. So Daniel Jones thinks it's going to be Mac Jones as well. Albert Breer talked to a bunch of people in the know who are closely tied to these NFL draft prospects, and he said this about Mac Jones, and we're going to run through the prospects here. Albert Breer said Jones is the cleanest projection. He's the most accurate of the 3. He throws with anticipation. His pocket movement is polished and twitchy, and the ball is always out on time. Also, Jones's college offensive coordinator Steve Sarkisian has raved to teams about how much the Bama coaches were able to put on his plate and how he applied the coaching to the field. What about Trey Lance? This is what Breer had to say about him. He needs reps, some continued mechanical work, and also experience in situations where his team is leaning on him to win. He had fewer than 20 attempts in 9 of North Dakota State's 16 games in 2019 and threw it more than 31 times just once. Breer continued by saying his accuracy on the move needs work, but if it comes together, North Dakota State prepared him to handle the volume. He played a lot both in the shotgun and under center, and Shanahan's scheme sets up to highlight skills like his. The ceiling would be high. Lastly, this is what Breer had to say about Justin Fields. The issue with Fields isn't going through progressions. It's how fast he's seeing the field and getting the ball out on time. Issues that lead to more freelancing, and issues that actually mirror some of those that Jimmy Garoppolo had. He rounded out with saying this: could Shanahan coach them out of Fields? If so, there's more boom potential here than with anyone. But I do wonder if Garoppolo not turning the corner in these areas affects the Niners' thinking. We talk about Justin Fields. We talk about Trey Lance and Mac Jones. If you were John Lynch in the captain chair and you had to make the decision at number 3 as to which quarterback you would pick, who would you choose? Justin Fields, type JF. Trey Lance, type TL. Mac Jones, type MJ. A fascinating conversation that we are going to continue to talk about in the weeks leading up to the NFL draft. For me, this is what it comes down to in 2 categories. It's upside and its system guy. Trey Lance, Justin Fields, they are the two quarterback prospects who are going to be available at number 3 with the most upside. But Kyle Shanahan probably wants the guy who best fits his system, a guy like Matt Ryan, who he had a lot of success with, a guy who can play from day one, especially if they move on from Jimmy Garoppolo or if they keep Jimmy G and he gets hurt. Kyle Shanahan wants a guy that he can slide into the lineup right from the get-go. Today's 49ers Report brought to you by our friends at Newsbreak. Really excited to tell you about this app. Obviously, I'm sports obsessed. Otherwise, I wouldn't have this job. But I also do have other interests outside of sports, the 49ers, and the NFL. I like to stay up to date with news, politics, pop culture, food, and entertainment, and I'm able to do that and have it all on one single feed thanks to the Newsbreak app. This is what Newsbreak offers, and this is why you should download it on your phone if you go to chatsports.com/49NB. You can get all the latest happenings in your neighborhood. One of the cool features, you enter your zip code and everything that's going on in your neighborhood, you will be alerted on one feed. Also, follow the 49ers Report on the Newsbreak app. You can do that by going to chatsports.com/49NB, search the 49ers Report, and then give the 49ers Report a follow. Richard Sherman has made it known who he wants San Francisco to take with pick number 3, and that is Justin Fields. Talking on the Chris Collinsworth podcast, he thinks that Justin Fields is the right guy because he has the accuracy that would thrive in Kyle Shanahan's system. He completed more than 70% of his throws this past year at Ohio State. He also compared Justin Fields and his skill set, not his athleticism, to Jimmy Garoppolo, who Richard Sherman played with, who he knows very well and went up against in practice. This is what Sherman had to say on that podcast. Justin Fields is literally the most efficient, if not one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the draft. He was completing, I think, 70% of his passes. He has similarities to what Jimmy does. Jimmy G is a very efficient quarterback. He's going to have a high completion percentage. He's going to get the ball to his spots. So Richard Sherman, the former 49ers cornerback, letting it be known that he likes Justin Fields at number 3. Do you agree with him? Do you disagree? If you do agree, type A for agree. If not, get into the comments and type D for disagree. So as we know, Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch attended Mac Jones's pro day. They were there watching him throw and work out, and rumors are hot and heavy, as we've covered on the 49ers Report for weeks, that Mac Jones will be the pick. And you figure that if he's going to be the guy, if Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch are very interested in him, they would do a lot of research and get some intel on Mac Jones, right? Well, no. According to Nick Saban, who said this, and I'm not buying it, I don't believe it at all. This is what Nick Saban had to say on the Dan Patrick Show. Kyle Shanahan did not ask me a thing about Mac Jones. I stood right next to him. I said hi to him, John Lynch too. They didn't ask me a thing. Maybe they thought they weren't allowed to. That's just coach speak. Are we really buying that? Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch, they're very intelligent guys. They know what they're doing. There's a lot riding on this pick, like maybe their careers. They didn't ask Nick Saban about Mac Jones. That's simple research. That's simple intel. I'm not buying it, Nick Saban. So detect the lie detector meter on Nick Saban after he said that on the Dan Patrick Show and scale it for me from 1 to 10.